Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero.
Can you guys hear me, sir?
Who's looking for Mourinho?
Can you hear me?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another show of Prematch, Muti. Yes, Mosa, everyone can hear you. You were talking while the intro was going, so that was good. We've got the usual suspects. We've got T-Rex Nick, or aka the Jonas brother, all the way from the Toon Army. We have Siddle, Ashley Young's uglier brother. We've got Hammerhead Rich in the house, and then we've got Gunnosaurus's backup, the Dengosaurus, who, by the way, looks like he's got a new team up there. Inter Milan seems like it's his backup based on the performances of Arsenal. Hey,
that's his Champions League team, guys. That's his Champions League team. Just know. He has no team supporting Champions League this season, so he had to switch.
As long as no one else has another B team here, because this show at the moment is just about the Premier League, not about Serie A or La Liga or anything else like that.
What are you mute, man? What's happening? We can't hear you.
A true and true fan, you know?
Wait, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Let's back.
Yeah, sorry. So what I was saying is, can you hear me now, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that this is definitely for the good of the Premier League. I heard rumors now this week that, but hopefully they're not rumors, that Xhaka was linked to a swap with Eriksen at Inter. So if he moves, I'll support him 100% in that move.
Oh, I get it.
And that's why I see I've got that the Inter shirt behind me. So that's just for Xhaka, and just to give him some support to move there. And they didn't know that I'll be with him.
Give a little welcome there to Scott, who pointed out something valid here. Nick's only joining us because his dad cancelled him on Tuesday. Oh, cancelled on him tonight, rather. That's why you're available. Thanks for joining us.
Let's pick a date.
I missed you guys.
I feel like that's a great segue, guys. Let's just jump straight into it. Newcastle, Chelsea. Nick, Mosa, guys, this is going to be a decent game. Speak about it. Let's hear your thoughts.
I think I tweeted this earlier. I'm optimistic, quietly optimistic. I look at the record that Chelsea have traveling up north, and they tend to struggle. And they've had some really good sides in the last couple of years, and it's never been easy for them. I think they've won probably one out of the last 5 or 6 up there in the Premier League. So it's never easy traveling up, and it seems as though whenever they travel up to us, they sort of stumble. But they are looking in form. I don't think they've lost in 6. So it is going to be a tough challenge, especially with the likes of Steve Bruce and the lads. It is notable that we have had Rafa Benitez the last time we've actually played them, and we've been successful. Although we did all right last year with a very smash and grab sort of win with Steve Bruce against Chelsea. We had I think 14% possession, and we still won the game somehow. So if we can emulate anything like that, I'll be delighted. But something notable that's just come out in the news today is the Premier League, the dirty Premier League, and I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. They're in a legal battle with Mike Ashley, and they today leaked confidential confidential evidence to a supporters group that's actually suing the Premier League themselves and taking them to the competition tribunal for obviously the takeover that never went through. So now Mike Ashley is suing them. They've got the supporters group suing them because it was breach of contract and breach of sort of confidentiality terms that they've had. So the Premier League are having to sort out their own issues, while some would say Newcastle are looking quite strong with pushing ahead with maybe getting this takeover. So I'm quietly optimistic on that front. And if we can get a win this week, we'll be even more delighted.
You guys are desperate for this takeover, hey?
Very desperate. Very desperate.
Like, you guys
would be if you had an owner like mine. Trust me.
Yeah, but your owner's a
Nick.
cheapskate. Yeah, he's a billionaire but a cheapskate.
Nick and I can relate a little bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Both our owners are rubbish.
for more reasons than one. I suppose you guys are fighting for relegation, terrible owners. Anyway, but the conversation though, I like what you're speaking about.
Big
Nick. You've
stadiums,
got-
yeah.
Great
stadiums,
fans.
big fan base. Nick, so interesting question. I know you've brought up in this whole takeover sort of scenario. I mean, this has been going for a while, and I know it's come to light this week, but I think this also popped up like 3 weeks ago. So it's a very interesting thing. I mean, what is the likely outcome if they do sue them? What happens in this scenario?
I read the formal letter that this group actually sent through to the Premier League, and they were demanding answers. They're saying, well, let the court decide, because there's obviously a competition court that they've got in, and for lack of better words, or if I'm not actually saying the right terminology, forgive me, but they're taking them to the competition tribunal to state and ask the question, why was the takeover never ever, why was no answer given? And then sort of lying to the fans by saying the Saudis pulled out, when they categorically came out afterwards and said, no, they waited and waited and waited. And the prolonged process was they had to pull out. They had to go and put their interest somewhere else. So ultimately, if the law is the law, and if, everything is what it should be, I think there should be a positive outcome for the Newcastle fans. And I think the focus for the fans are there, because if we can stay up and we can potentially get bought in the next 12 months, there might be a silver lining after all of this. So I think off the field matters are quite exciting for us. And I think there was a glimmer of hope today. And I think everyone's Mike Ashley's fan now, because Mike Ashley's got the lawyers that City had when he got them out of, those lawyers got City out of the UEFA ban. So,
sorry, I heard titties. I was like, please, what
Might be
kind of lawyers
something
is
after playing Chelsea.
Also a titty.
I was like,
City,
geez, I trust Mike Ashley to have his lawyers playing around in the titty bar. I thought that's what you were saying there. Sorry, Nick.
No. So he's got City's lawyers. So I think the legal teams on both fronts are quite strong, and the Premier League have answers to give. And unfortunately, what they've done in the last couple of weeks, when they tried to formulate the 6-team or the big 6 taking control of the league, I think a lot of things are being exposed, and it's a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, what can we do? It is what it is.
But it was a strange one, because I remember seeing on Sky Sports, there was so much momentum about this takeover, and it was so close to going through. And then, as you say, it just went very quiet, very suddenly. And I'm not surprised that fans are demanding answers, because at one point I remember seeing that it was as good as done, and then suddenly it just kind of disappeared into thin air. So I'm not surprised.
So the letter actually speaks about that, and all the different moments from April, from what actually transpired, and the Premier League not really giving anything away. But you talk about mainstream media versus specific Northeast media, and I watched Sky Sports tonight. I think they gave that headline at, I think, 45 minutes into their hour segment. So for me, mainstream media, you talk about CNN backing a Biden in this whole election, and it's quite hectic how sort of for Biden they are. You would say the Premier League have Sky Sports in their palm, and they report based on what they want them to report on, because this news in the Northeast for Newcastle fans is huge. And if you go on Twitter, that's all they're talking about. But Sky Sports they literally gave it a 15-second talk about with a 15-second segment where they said Mike Ashley is looking at instituting legal action because they breached confidentiality terms. So it is all a little bit strange, and I am a little bit worried as to how powerful the Premier League can be. But if the law is what the law is, justice should be served. I would like to think.
Justice being what exactly?
Let me know if you can hear me.
Well, an answer first and foremost as to why the takeover wasn't approved, and answering why, if it is no, what is the reasons for that, and then ultimately a positive outcome for us would be that they actually allow the takeover to go ahead.
Fair enough, Nick. And I hope for your sake that it happens and for the rest of the Toon Army, because it's been a long struggle over the years and we've actually had enough of that shit, to be honest. So we need Newcastle United to be the real United again. Hey, Selo. Mosa, talking about...
No. They're the biggest team in the Northeast. Yes, we need the biggest team in the Northeast to be there. Yes. Let's get that on record, please. The biggest team in the Northeast, not the biggest United, please.
Talking about takeovers, and we're talking about a takeover happening in Newcastle, and that's going to be the one that we're all assuming is going to be the blue shirts all over the field there. And Mosa, Nicholas Killas is super happy to have you here today. So please give us your thoughts in terms of what's going to happen in this game.
What's happening, Musa?
Or don't. Apparently, Musa's struggling there. He's just a pretty face, and we always knew that. Let's be honest, guys. His football stats are pretty low.
Musa
I think he's struggling, but I think ultimately it's going to be an uphill battle for Newcastle, and I think if we're going to get anything out of it, we're going to have to I think he's going to stick Steve Bruce with his five at the back and try and hold out. I heard Frank Lampard speak about the game now. He's a little bit concerned as a lot of his players only returned today. Some haven't even returned. They're returning this evening. And unfortunately for them, they all have to do their COVID tests. And you've seen, I mean, if any of their players come back with a positive test, they've got a midday kickoff in the UK. They might struggle to bring some of their big stars if they are positive. I know Havertz is out. Pulisic is still out, and he just said Thiago Silva won't make the squad because of the lengthy trip from Brazil.
You know the thing is that, for instance, that the Brazilians came back. They're playing Wednesday early hours in say UK time, but what's Tuesday night in South America. They got back last night. Alex Telles was training for Man United today. Thiago, maybe because Thiago's a pensioner, 36 years old, he needs a bit more time to recover. Yeah, but guys, that's true, guys.
Frank actually said
a bit of time just to,
Frank actually said in a live press conference that he had just got a text from Thiago Silva saying that he's just landed. So maybe they were on different flights, or he was maybe given a bit more time. But he has been told that Frank did say that he won't make the squad this week, unless that was just a tactic to maybe sidetrack Steve Bruce. But it doesn't take much sidetracking for him.
You know what's interesting with that whole traveling thing is that I remember there was a few years back, man. I remember there was a chartered plane, right, hired by Man City and Liverpool, right, to fly back Aguero and Firmino. The cost to fly back these South American players, to fly them back as soon as possible, and Ellison to fly them back, and Edison to fly them back to the UK. They should do the same, you know what I mean? Get a plane as soon as they're done with their match, whichever country they're playing in, whether they were playing away from Brazil or at home in Brazil, within an hour, get on that plane, fly back to the UK, and obviously make sure that obviously the time between that they come back and between the next game is quite short, So I think they should have done that in this instance. Brazil's got lots of European players. It's got an Aston Villa player, which is quite shocking. He starts for Brazil. The Aston Villa. Douglas Luiz starts for Brazil. They've got Allen, Richarlison started, Gabriel Jesus started, and Firmino started, and Thiago Silva started. All these guys started. Edison was the keeper. You know what I mean? They should be organizing like a little charter flight back for these guys so that they're ready for the game. You know what I mean? Because it's quite important for these players to be in the team. Thiago Silva out, that gives Callum Wilson a chance, man. Who will play with Zuma? Rudiger, Rudiger's still hurting from losing 6-0 against Spain. So yeah, you guys could keep against Chelsea.
I think with the lucky packet that we are, and I mean we do tend to win some, lose some, and then maybe a draw 1 or 2 here and there, we might, like you said, take advantage of that. Callum Wilson in form. And, I think for Chelsea, it's probably the worst time the international break could have come because they had so much momentum. And with sending so many internationals out, he's only going to have 1 or 2 days to get them together, sort of do a short sort of a shadow session where they'll maybe go through a few patterns of play, a couple of phases of play, and then that's them on a plane up to the northeast. So I think it's probably the worst way to start. Travel as far north as possible to go play a game when your players are only returning as recent as today for some of them. So if there was a chance to get something, I think today might be it. Fortunately for Newcastle, we don't have that many internationals, so they shouldn't have COVID. They should all be, because I think they're in lockdown currently. But thanks, Musa.
Yeah.
About it. I wouldn't put it past Callum Wilson nicking the winner.
So did you see Nicholas's comment there? Like, I think you missed it, eh?
Which one? What did it say?
Thiago Silva's close to.
Yeah, no, it's a personal joke, but Nico Killas knows he was always overage playing football for all his youth teams. So he even played for the 21 Cyprus national team, but he was overage then as well. He was about 25.
To be fair, Greeks have a beard when they're like 8 years old.
He doesn't know if he's Greek or Cypriot. He doesn't even know.
Yeah, either way, they begin shaving when they're 8. They take after a certain member in the family. I'm not going to say who. Anyway, moving along though, like one of the interesting points that you did mention, Nick, was like the whole traveling thing, especially, and you, Selo, you guys talking about them coming from a far distance and now they've still got to go far north. And especially when we talk about how pampered the players in London are, generally speaking. I think this might be, if Moss's broken connection is anything to go by tonight in terms of what happens on Sunday, I think they might be disconnected on the weekend. So fair enough, fair point to what you're saying, Nick. But moving along to the Spurs Man City game, guys. Matt wasn't able to make it today, but I feel like there's a big announcement that came out of the newsroom today, and that was Pep Guardiola signing or renewing his contract for another 2 years. Is this the boost for this weekend's game?
Sure. I don't know. I don't think it'll make much of a difference, to be honest with you. I think I just felt like, for me, I feel like Man City, they've got this thing where they want to win, and I think Pep himself, he wants to win the Champions League with Man City. And I think that's, for him, is probably another reason, probably not probably the main reason, but probably one of the reasons why he's probably stayed a bit longer as well. Is it's something he's that kind of person. He achieves what he wants to get and then he moves on. We've seen it from the previous ones, and this one has been eluding him. This Champions League with Man City, and you can see that. I mean, we did speak about it before in terms of I think it was Kevin De Bruyne when he sort of didn't vent, but you could. I think he commented on one comment when he was he said it was same thing
every season.
Yeah, same thing, different year. So I don't know, for him, for a player like De Bruyne, what is he thinking? Is it really a nice thing that he signed for longer, or that's yeah. So I don't think, for me, it's not gonna. I don't think it'll make much of a difference.
I think Guardiola wants to prove a point, guys. He wants to prove a point. You know what I mean? He's It's 6-7 years. At Man City and Bayern Munich, where he hasn't won a Champions League. Whereas at Barcelona, he won 2 Champions Leagues, and his legacy will always be, or if he left, for instance, will always be that you didn't win the Champions League with the other 2 clubs. At Jose Mourinho, for instance, won it with Porto and Inter Milan. So I think he just wants to almost solidify his legacy, somewhat. So also by solidifying his legacy would be, for instance, to win back the title from Liverpool. That will solidify his legacy, because at Barcelona, Mourinho won the league in his final season and he left and he was stressed. So now, where he's losing the title, and I think he wants to win it back, and the Champions League factor still hanging over his head, I think it might give a bit of a boost, some stability to the team. They started the season off a bit slowly, but I think the Champions League performance so far has been quite good, and then the performance against Liverpool was quite good as well. It was, head-to-head was, they could have won with the penalty, So I think, with what they've done this season in the last couple of games, I think it will definitely boost them a little bit. With Spurs, Harry Kane hasn't scored for 5 games for England, which is unusual. But I think the system that England plays doesn't suit Harry Kane as much as a Tottenham. So I think obviously at Spurs it'll be back to normal, with his brother Son Heung-min and all the others. But I think that it'll be interesting, man. Eric Dyer, man. I've never trusted Eric Dyer at the back, so Gabriel Jesus could definitely take advantage of Eric Dyer.
Yeah, man, definitely. I think Dyer doesn't have the pace at the back, but one thing we don't know about Jesus, is that his touches go anywhere. So depending on whether or not the wind is blowing in the right direction, he might get in on goal, or he might be going facing the other way. But talking about the whole, what's interesting about this game is we've got the Mourinho Pep Guardiola matchup. Mourinho traditionally has a shocking record. I think he's only got 5 wins out of 17. Pep Guardiola dominating in terms of having 10 victories. That's double than what Mourinho has in terms of this fixture. And I feel like this is a good time for Mourinho. His team is higher up the log. We know that City are stuttering. And to what Wongo was saying, is this necessarily a good thing for a City? You've got a side in City that seem like they've depleted a little bit. They're pretty much on the downward of the curve. The same as Liverpool, you could argue. I mean, there's a whole bunch of other things there. You could say, Champions League is the thing that's sticking out for Pep for staying, but you could also say it's the fact that he's competing against the likes of Jurgen Klopp and the likes of Mourinho. I mean, technically speaking, where else would a manager like Pep go right now when the Premier League is where it's at? If you want to be the best in the world, if you want to be the best manager in the world, you've got to do it here in the Premier League. And this is why I think Saturday's fixture is going to be so telling as to where these sides are at and as to whether or not a Spurs has the potential to give a good run for the title. Rich, what do you think about how they're going to be set up? How do you think Pep Guardiola is going to counter Mourinho's side on the weekend?
I think this is a massive game for Pep because, if they lose this, there's a 6-point gap suddenly between them and the top after 8 games, which for City would not be ideal at all. So I think Pep has really earmarked this one as a must-win. And as you've mentioned, he's got it over Mourinho the last couple of games. So I think he's going to go hell for leather and just make sure that they're the better side on the day. They've got the better players, in my opinion. So, yeah, they've got to back themselves to get a result because if it doesn't go their way, suddenly they're playing catch-up early on in the season. And another thing I wanted to bring up is, obviously, Pep signed a new deal now, but what is the mandate for him now? Is the mandate win Champions League? Because if he focuses on Champions League, it takes his attention off Premier League and the gap just widens more and more and more. So what is his mandate? But I think this for Pep is a massive, massive game. You've got Ferran Torres playing unbelievably well at the moment. He'll look to get him involved. De Bruyne, as we know. And just try and make sure they get 3 points. I think he's going to be rattling the lads to make 100% sure they get a result.
No, true.
Yeah,
No, true.
I think going back to Pep, and in terms of his signing a contract, I think it settled the nerves around City. I think if there were murmurs of worry amongst the sort of City fans, obviously we can't hear it or see it in the stands. I think fans were probably concerned whether or not he was going to sign that new contract. Obviously, if you look at it, he's got a recipe to actually just jump ship now because he's had a really poor start. I think the poorest start he's ever had, maybe in his career. So I think him signing is a statement of intent, and it is. Celo's right. If they want to go and win the Champions League, you need to sign that long-term deal, and he needs to rebuild what's sort of missing for that side and for that squad. But what better way to sort of celebrate your new contract by playing Jose Mourinho, his arch rival, his arch nemesis, maybe not his hardest opponent that he's actually had, but sort of the most controversial. They've got a big history, and it's got all the ingredients for a great clash because Jose Mourinho will, with the squad, go hell for leather against the City squad that hasn't done so well this season. Although, as we do know, Mourinho's the master at this. He might even sit in and he might not go whole for leather. He might sit in and say, "Come at me,"
He
and
will. He will.
Yeah, but if I mean, if there was an opportunity for Mourinho to get one up on Pep, here it is.
Mourinho's best teams always have these amazing wingers. Wingers probably in the league, and are very good at counter attacking. You know what I mean? And that's
100%.
one thing that a Heung-min Song, and a Harry Kane, and let's say maybe a Lucas Moura, if Bell doesn't start, for instance. You know, those guys, Son and Moura, the pace that they have is similar to what he had with like a Damien Duff and an Iron Robin, a Cristiano Ronaldo, Gonzalo Higuain playing on the wing as well for Madrid back then. He likes wingers, and literally, if a mistake from City loses the ball, he cuts it out. The one thing that Dyer can do is a pass a ball at least, or Alderweireld as well. It's quite a good long pass the ball. Alderweireld can pass the ball. You know, probably one of the best passing centre backs. Pass it to a Son or pass it to a Kane, and then boom, 4 touches the ball. You know, and Lloris's distribution is also quite good. So I think he might sit back a bit, maybe the first half, and see how things go, and then try catch them on the counter a bit. You know, guys, Mourinho is one of the best managers in terms of mind games and in terms of setting up against other teams. He thinks so hard. You know, if you think about the fact that he lost to Pep 5-0 at the Nou Camp, then the next game he didn't lose, obviously, by that large margin. You know, he got burnt by trying to attack and so forth. And I think he obviously learned from that. And it's not the same, obviously, City to that Barca, but it obviously has similarities in terms of the possession-based tiki-taka football. And I think he'll just try and sit deep a bit, initially contain them, and then obviously attack when he has an opportunity to do so.
Yeah, and I know I've mentioned this before, and we've got James pretty much reiterating what Rich said in terms of what is the mandate for a Pep Guardiola. And clearly, the thing that they are after is the Champions League. But what I like about when we're looking at this game in particular, when you're looking at a Mourinho and you're looking at a Pep Guardiola and the context as to where everything is at, if you've got a Mourinho now, you slowly get the feeling that the players are buying into his methods, they're buying into what he's trying to do. And if you look at Pep Guardiola, I mean, I was talking to someone today online about they're in a stage of a rebuild because you could argue that the players are so fatigued of his methodologies. So depending on what happens on the weekend, if they come out with this with a loss, I feel like it might be very detrimental. But at the same time, what Nick was saying was there was this cloud of uncertainty looming over the club. Is he staying? Isn't he staying? And you could argue that's also influenced their results of the recent games. So it's going to be a telling game, and I'm super excited to see what's going to happen there or what's going to come out of that. But the next one that we've got is a game where on paper it should be an easy one. But we do know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer loves choking. Manchester United versus West Brom. West Brom only have 3 points, guys. 3 points, and that's not from a win. They've drawn 3 games, and they haven't won anything the whole season. And they're going to Old Trafford. This should surely be a hands-down victory to Man United. Celo?
Musa's not sure, guys. I was going to say that they scored 3 goals against Chelsea, but he's not sure. But yeah, Musa, West Brom scored 3 goals against Chelsea. Yeah, man, I think Man United for this game, they haven't won a game at home yet. So this is the perfect game to get that first victory at home. But yeah, you never know with Solskjaer. It'll be interesting to see how he sets up. There's some injury concerns. Martial had a bit of an injury against Portugal. Lindelof also had a bit of an injury. And I don't even know why he actually ended up playing 65 minutes because he had an injury before the game. But he didn't want Sweden to get relegated into the B section of the Nations League. So the stupid internationals, seemingly they mean something. And then again, another player, Rashford, didn't play for England at all because he had an injury against Everton. So it'll be interesting to see how Solskjaer sets up. Fred wasn't with the Brazil team, so he's fresh. He's ready to go. So you might get what they call now a McFred. It sounds like a McDonald's meal. So you might McFred starting together. It's a package deal, guys. They can't play without the other one. You might get a McFred playing together. But ideally, I don't want to see them playing together, man. I want to see Fred playing with Pogba. Pogba showed his class, kept things very simple for France, kept things ticking over, and just basically down for the French team. But also, I feel that the way he plays for France, it's more of knowing the setup, knowing the formation, and knowing what's expected of him. You know what I mean? And I think with Man United, after lockdown, he did very well, right? But then now you go into this new season, and then now you want to switch up. Okay, cool. He had COVID to start the season, which wasn't good. Then you want to switch up things. You should have went back to what helped you get to top 4. You know what I mean? So Solskjaer as well, I blame him for not keeping with what was good for him post lockdown. So we'll see what formation he has. It'll be good to see Greenwood on the field as well. A lot of bad things have been said in English media about Greenwood.
What did he do? Did he steal the kid or what?
Nah, so the English media is quite rubbish. They actually bloody shit. They actually bloody shit. But I fucking hate the English media actually, because they always do this. They did this to Raheem Sterling, and they're now doing it to Greenwood, and they're saying, is he the next Ravel Morrison? You know what I mean? That's bloody cuck. You know what I mean?
Especially one of his mates in the academy, Man City Academy, had recently
passed on,
taken his own life. Yeah, so
exactly.
There's a lot for the youngster to be dealing with
against Leipzig. He literally dedicated that goal to the former Man City youth player. So they're obviously coming out with stories. And Solskjaer actually asked Southgate, can you please not pick Greenwood? And also the under-21s, can you please not pick Greenwood at all? So they actually, may like to ask them for him to not be picked, and for him to stay with United during the international break, which he's done. So I expect him to start this game, just to get his confidence back. But when he has played, he's looked good. So it'll be good for him to get some minutes. We'll see what happens in the game. De Gea took a break on the international break, didn't play at all. So yeah, the team's ready to go. Maguire had a good game, I think, for England yesterday. I watched the first half only. He was playing, I don't know, like a left wing back, centre back type vibe. I don't even know what kind of position he was playing. But
he's trying to lose weight or something.
He was playing as a left centre back. So the left centre back, sometimes you go and support. But he did very well for yesterday. So let's see what happens. West Brom also. Man, it's one of those teams, man. We spoke about briefly. You guys spoke about that they in the running for relegation. So Man United, if we don't win, man, Solskjaer needs to resign.
This is where you cash in, because Bilic is really, really struggling at West Brom. I've been watching them play. They've conceded the most goals in the league. They're struggling up top. They don't score. They've got Carl Grant playing up front who scored against Brighton, but they're lacking an identity, and there's not enough experienced grafters in their side. They've got it just looks like they've got a lot of individuals that just don't know how to play under Bilic, and he almost looks defeated already. Even when towards the end of his reign at West Ham, you could tell by his body language he looked defeated and he didn't really have a plan B. And looking at him now at West Brom, he looks void of ideas. And I think this is a game for you guys to really cash in and score some goals, and I think you guys can generally thump them. They're really, really, really struggling at the moment.
Now we need to take advantage. You're right. But the only thing I actually thought of now is that our ex-youth product is their goalkeeper, Sam Johnston. So I think he's going to try and prove a point, obviously in goal. For us, keeping him as a future goalkeeper.
Sorry, no, I'm just funny because I'm just thinking, Shame, if West Ham and Bilic do manage to pull a result out of the hat here.
West Brom.
Oh, sorry. If they do manage to pull a result out of the hat, it's going to be a false sense of excitement, really. They're going to be like, yeah, we're back on it. We've got 3 points against United, and they're probably going to get thumped the next week. You know how this happens in the Premier League with United. They love giving guys chances there. They just don't like taking their own chances.
They keep you honest in the Premier League, man. They keep you honest.
Yeah. Rich, we spoke, Wong and I spoke about this last week. We spoke about the relegation candidates, and we said, Sheffield are at the bottom because they can't be scoring goals. And the next game we're going to talk about is Sheffield and West Ham. West Ham, who have been somewhat erratic. Some games been very good, others not so good. But their results have been better than the usual seasons. So you surely have to be confident as well going into this game against the Sheffield, despite the fact that they are playing at home.
Yeah, absolutely. Sheffield United, they can't buy goals at the moment. They're really, really struggling. And it's something we've seen a lot in the Premier League. You get this first season bounce when you get promoted. And then often that second season back, you really, really struggle. Teams figure out, they know what you're about and stuff. And as far as West Ham go, we've had a decent season so far. I'm quite happy with the way we've played. We've had some really, really tough games so far this season, and we've managed to get through those. So now we have a run of games coming up where we can really build momentum. And I think the Fulham game was really important last week to get those 3 points. It now sets us up nicely. If we beat Sheffield United, we go into the top 8, and that's where West Ham want to be in the Premier League. So it's a real must-win game. In saying that, Chris Wilder's got them really well set up. It's going to be really, really tough. Away from home, it's not easy at Sheffield United. We saw that last season where we lost. I don't know if you guys remember the famous goal that we scored that was chalked off when Declan Rice handballed it on the halfway line, and we went 50 meters and went and equalized. All our fans went mad, and then it got disallowed. So I'm still hurting from that, and I'm just hoping that we can get a result. Sheffield United fans historically hate West Ham because of when we signed Carlos Tevez and he saved us, and we relegated Sheffield United on the final day by beating United away from home, and they hate us ever since that day. So I hope we can get one over on them for sure.
Yeah, I think arguably also for Sheffield United, they'll be looking at this. I mean, they're not playing, one of the big boys, if you want to call it that. And if they're gonna sort of start salvaging something from the season, they might look at a West Ham that has been sort of up and down this season. Hopefully, they can catch him on a downer this weekend, and they can maybe get something. I think that's what Chris Wilder will be thinking. I mean, trying to motivate them so deep in that sort of already a bit of a relegation battle might be rather tough. And I agree with what you were saying, Rich, about West Brom struggling for goals. But I mean, Sheffield United also. I know they've got the boy from
Brewster.
Brewster. I mean, Brewster. If you, I just don't see it. I don't see them scoring enough goals this season. It will be tricky for you away from home, but unfortunately, I mean, the sort of fan aspect and the fans that you travel with would have made it a lot more difficult for Sheffield United at home. So I don't think it's an evenly matched game, but I think if there's an opportunity for Chris Wilder and his Sheffield United side to sort of get something on the board, I think it would be this. I could see maybe like a draw if your West Ham team don't rock up. Your side's very similar to mine. You can rock up one week and next week they look like they've been on the piss the night before.
Yeah. So to be fair, Nick, it's not only your side, it's also Arsenal and United as well. I think the rest of the side, they're all looking the same from that perspective in terms of being inconsistent.
Yeah, even a Liverpool.
I think West Ham have this one. I mean, especially sort of some of the performances. I mean, arguably the best one I think was against Leicester, in my opinion. But I think if you can sort of maintain that sort of flow. I mean, if you rock up like you rocked up against us on the first day, I think it was the first day of the season against Newcastle, then it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So I think you guys are nice and organized. You guys look like David Moyes looks like he's got what he wants in terms of his system and how he wants his players firing. So I mean, you might just put another sort of a bit of misery back in the city of Sheffield, and they might start pressing panic buttons. Because I still see them as a big relegation candidate.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's definitely. Sorry, Sid.
No worries.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, I was talking to Rich the other day. I think it was after last week Thursday's show, and then I saw that Sebastian Haller had scored for for his new country or his country that he's now gone back to. He had scored for
Ivory Coast.
Coast, yeah, he scored for Ivory Coast. So do you think he's gonna start while Claudio's favorite player in the Premier League is still injured?
Yeah, no, he will, and right now it's a breaking point for Seb Haller, because he came with a massive price tag a couple of seasons ago and he hasn't quite lived up to it. I still harvest hopes that he's going to do the business for us moving forward, but I watch him week in, week out, and I just don't think he offers us near as much as Antonio does. And right now we are really, really missing Antonio up front, just that man that can hold it up, that's got the pace, that's a constant battering ram. Unfortunately with Haller is he's good in the air, and that's kind of where it ends. As far as pace goes, he's not someone that's going to give defenders problems. But hopefully, having moved to the Ivory Coast, changed his allegiances and scored on his debut, he might have confidence, and hopefully that can be a motivation for him to kick on in the Premier League, because we're going to need it now. With Antonio out, we're a completely different side.
But then who are the other attackers apart from, because obviously you got Bowen, and is Fornals is what, a 10, number 10?
Yeah, so that's a really interesting one. Fornals is a 10. When we bought him from La Liga, he was smashing it for Villarreal in a number 10 role, smashing it for Spain under 21s in the Euros. And then Moyes brought him to West Ham Pellegrini brought him to West Ham, and Moyes played him out wide on the wing, where he's actually done decently well considering that he's a number 10. But I really feel like we not utilizing him to the best of his ability. For me, he's a number 10. That's where he should be playing. He's really, really good in that position. As far as moving forward goes, Haller's the only out-and-out striker we really have right now. We could potentially play a false 9 with Jared Bowen as our number 9. Where for me, I think that would work even better. Then you've got some pacey wingers down either flank to help out. Because for me, we're dangerous, especially away from home, when we're playing on the counter-attack, we're playing little balls through, like what we did against Leicester, where we just tore them apart on the break. So it will be interesting to see. I don't think Moyes likes Haller, so we'll see how that goes.
Yes, man. Signings, signings. Sporting director, Claudio, sporting director, remember what we were saying? What's this? Pellegrini signs a Fornals and signs a Sebastian Haller. What happens? The new manager, David Moyes, comes in. David Moyes doesn't know how to handle some players. David Moyes knows Leighton Baines. He knows
Stephen Pienaar.
He knows Osman. He knows Osman, Stephen Pienaar, and Fellaini. He knows like those type of players, like a Ferguson. Those Ferguson. Yeah, that number 9 for.
But that's why.
But Gravison, you know what I mean? That's the kind of
Gravison played for Real Madrid.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
He was going to a top time. That's what That's what Moyes knows. Moyes gets confused now when he's got international players like Sebastian Haller, Yarmolenko, Fornals. He gets confused. He doesn't know what to do. Lenzini doesn't know what to do. You know what I mean? Then he goes back to like safe options.
Yeah, but this is how it slowly transforms. When you have a club like a West Ham that are rudderless in terms of their leadership, and they've got a manager who comes in saying, listen, you've bought all these shit guys. I'm not really happy with them, but I'm using what you've given me and I'm getting results. And that's when he starts slowly turning over the leadership, and then they start buying into his methods, and then all of a sudden the club goes, well, fuck, we don't need a sporting director. We're just going to go with David Moyes, and then you guys are going to sit mid-table for the next 30 years. But one thing West Ham do though is they kill all their signings before anything. They do it because they tend to overspend on the players they bring in. So there's this big expectation on the guy coming in because they're like, shit, well, we've never heard of this guy before, but he's coming for 30-40 million odd. So he has to be decent, right? Surely. And then the poor guy comes in there, can't get a kick in because he first needs to get introduced to the Premier League. Instead of actually being smarter, like you said with the guy they bought from the Championship, Jared. Yeah, I feel like that's a smart signing because the player, he's got aspirations. He wants to make his name in the Premier League. He knows the Championship, arguably, we all know this, is the toughest league in the world in terms of physical combat, at least what's left in terms of football. So signing players like that, and maybe that's where West Ham should be altering their transfer policy in terms of.
Where we were stupid with Haller, I mean, people forget that why he was so good at Eintracht Frankfurt is because he had Luka Jovic playing alongside him. That's the only reason why they had the season they did. Now we've brought him in and we've just played lump up balls to him, played like a 4-5-1 formation and just left him up top alone where he's completely isolated, completely ineffective. if he had
playing
someone
an
like
attack-minded team.
around him. Yeah, so we were stupid, and I don't understand why someone would allow that to happen. You can't bring in a striker that needs a partner and chuck him in the Premier League and expect him to play well up top alone. You know, it's impossible.
It happens too often in
100%.
the Premier League teams go sign some very good player, the best player in a German, let's say a German number 4, 5, 6, 7 team in the league, and then they come to the Premier League, like even Newcastle. Jonathan was doing well where he was, but then now you bring him to Newcastle, don't play to his strengths. Then the fan base says, "Oh, flip, man, this guy's not worth 30 million pounds. Oh, what a waste. Oh, fuck, whatever, whatever." But are you guys playing to his strengths? No, this guy was playing for a number 4, 5, 6, 7 team in whatever league they were playing for. Come to Premier League, you play for a number 12 team that doesn't play attacking football. You know what I mean? And then now you get angry, and then you're like, it's wasted money.
To be fair, we can't also ignore certain managers and what they do. If they inherit a team and they don't like players, they'll ice them out, and they'll ice them out in certain ways, put them in positions that they know they're not going to be successful in, and then slowly be like, look, the player's not producing, so we've got to move him out. So that's also something we need to take into consideration. The next one, though, overall, I'm getting the feeling that that Richard's feeling confident, but we're going to talk about that in the predictions. Wonga, Denga. No,
he's been very quiet.
He's been very quiet.
He's scared. He's scared, that's why.
Yeah, well, is he? I don't know if he's scared as much as he's ready to lay it on us. Leeds versus Arsenal.
Nah.
What do you think, Wongs?
Yeah, it's geez, I mean, giving Arsenal's performances, giving both teams' performances, I think the game is it's an open one, but one would expect Arsenal to come on top at the end of the day. Well, for me, I think I would expect my team to come on top. Leeds also, they've got, I think their coach Marcelo was saying that, they said that he's never lost 3 in a row. He's lost 2 in a row, yes, but he's never lost 3 in a row. And now he's already on a 2-loss streak. So against Arsenal, it will be the 3rd. But every time I hear something like this, it always gets broken. Well, most of the time I hear, 90% of the time I hear some record like it hasn't been beaten in so many years. That's the time. So I think for me, that's probably a good starting point for me. Also, Arsenal, I think now our injury list, I mean, we're missing now, I think Kolsenic is out because of COVID. Nini's gone because of COVID. Partey, they say he's probably going to start. They said, well, not probably, but there is a chance he probably that he'll start. He didn't go and play for Ghana during the international break. He was actually in London, still getting fit. So that's actually a good signing for us. And then the other guys like Chambers, Mari, Martinelli. I don't know about Nelson's condition. He should be doing all right now because he was injured. I think it was 3 weeks ago. But yeah, the team, it's not as bad. I think David Luiz as well, also back as well. So I don't think injuries have hit us that much. And then he hasn't played much of the season as well. He's only come out in the last.
Yeah, but he's been great for you guys since he's been back.
Yes,
Alneni's been actually the difference you've had.
But we lost the last game. He was playing it. So
yeah, but still.
No, I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, I don't think he's the difference.
He was playing.
He was there, you know. And that's the thing. So I don't think we'll see now coming this game if it really makes much of a difference. But
Wonga, I want to ask about the whole thing with Aubameyang playing on the wing, man. You know, he for Gabon. He was playing striker again as a number 9. He scored 1 goal for Gabon. You know, in a tough qualifier against Gambia. But you guys keep playing him on the wing. Aubameyang
you know what, Celo? But what's interesting about that, Celo, is that it's not only Aubameyang. They're playing Tierney, who's the best cross of the ball, as a holding centre back or as a centre back. They're playing someone else also out of position. There's like 3 or 4 players that he's turning decent players, and he's pretty much asking them to plug some sort of gap because they're trying to meet whatever idea he's trying to do. Sorry, Will.
I think if in that respect, I may be wrong. Like obviously I have no insight to what Arteta's thinking, but the way I see it is you've got to keep a guy like I said happy. He's probably one. When he was think about it. He was on the bench.
Finished, man. He's finished. That guy.
Yes,
Lacazette hasn't got into the French team for the last 5 years, man. Why do you have to keep him? Why do you have to keep
That's
him?
what I'm saying.
Probably like 10,
Yes, so
20
that's what I'm saying. I said he had to. That's what I'm saying is that he's now trying to keep a guy like Lacazette happy. He's not played. Arsenal always wanted to start, and now he's trying to keep that guy happy. Aubameyang, you could have moved him to the wing, but for me, in my own opinion, I'm saying, in my own opinion, I would play Aubameyang down the middle. But I'm saying, Arteta's mind now is thinking, as a manager now, you've got to keep that guy happy. You can move Aubameyang to the wing, but it's not working.
What's best for the
honest
team?
truth is it's not working. Yeah, the best for the team is to play Aubameyang down the middle. No, I agree with it. No, I am just answering the question as why you play Arteta Aubameyang down the wing. So that's the logic I can see in it, but I don't agree with it.
The last, like Aubameyang is top 3 goal scorers in the Premier League for the last two since he came to Arsenal.
100%.
Yeah? He's scored he's always top 3 Golden Boot, but this season you guys are icing him on wide. But that's one thing Emery never did. Emery always played him through the middle. Emery was a rubbish coach. Played him through the middle, but now
and he got the goals. In fact, I even believe that. In fact, not that I believe. It's obvious. If Aubameyang was not playing those games, especially down the middle, Arsenal would have been in a whole different place, probably close to relegation without Aubameyang's goals. For me, I was just answering your question. That's the only thing I can think Arteta's thinking, because the in plain sight, like I said, in Gabon, there's no one else there. Aubameyang is main man. You're going to put him down the middle. In what I would do if I was there at the Arsenal manager, I would say Aubameyang down the middle. Left wing, I'd put who's this kid now? Why am I forgetting his name?
Saka.
Saka, yes, Saka down the left, yes. And then if they're playing 3-4-3, I'd play Tierney down the left, down the left mid. Yeah, left mid. Maybe Pepe, and then Pepe on the right wing as well, next to Aubameyang. But definitely Aubameyang. He last year proved it. And Arsenal, every year Arsenal, in fact, for many years now, since the days of Wenger, we've always had that one striker down the middle. Well, back then it was 2, it was Bergkamp and Henry. But now we had that one striker down the middle. After that was when Percy down the middle scores. I mean, Adebayo as well, down the middle, score us our goals. But now you're playing our goal scorer down the wing. That's wasted.
So for me, if I'm looking at this now, you guys. I mean, Wonga, you've said it. You're not scoring goals, and you've got an opportunity now against a very open Leeds United. I mean, they've conceded 8 goals in 2 games. I mean, their risk versus reward. I mean, me as a coach, I can't understand it. I know there's Bielsa followers, and they like worship the guy, but I sometimes think it's suicidal, and they've been shown up in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So if there's an opportunity,
and you said it, Nick, I remember.
Yeah, and if
you said in the beginning.
You know what? I promise you, the risk versus reward is great if you get the reward, but they haven't been getting the reward. The thing that might be key for you guys is Arteta has proved that he can play out of a press, so I think he can play out of their press and potentially hurt them. But on the other hand, you guys don't look like you can score goals, so it's like I don't know if it's going to be one of those dull, maybe 1-1s or 2-2. No, 2-2 is not dull, 1-1 or 0-0. But I worry for the fact that you're not firing up on the other end. But I mean, for Leeds United, you said it already, Wonga. Like losing 4-1 2 games in a row is going to be tough, and I just don't know if he's got his right system in which he knows he wants to play Bielsa. I think Bamford's obviously key because we know he can score goals, but then the sort of free roles that he gives your Costas, your Hernandez, your Shackletons. I mean, I don't know if he really knows exactly which is his best. And I think the loss of Calvin Phillips in the midfield has almost taken away their block in front of that back 4 or back 3 when they've played a back 3, because he is the one who picks up every second ball and he can distribute well. into the areas that hurt teams, and they create 2v1s quite nicely. But I think they've lost that solidity in the midfield. So I'm not too sure if you can penetrate. I'm sure you can penetrate if you can get out the press. But is there going to be a final product?
Yeah, but you're right. Phillips, since Phillips has been out, they've lost, and I see. I was just trying to actually read up on his injury. There's a shoulder injury, so he's back in training. So
yeah,
hopefully,
he's out. Back. He's out this weekend. He's only back at the end of.
No, but it says he started training.
But irrelevant, guys. But one thing I want to say though is based on everything Nick said, which I think he hit a lot of nails on the head there with what he was saying. What's interesting about this dynamic, I know in most games that hasn't been working for Leeds based on their recent form because of how Bielsa sets up. But if there is a side that a Bielsa setup could hurt, is an Arsenal, because Arteta is very insistent in playing out from the back, and you could somewhat think that because they're playing a Leeds United in the form that they're in, he could somewhat undermine them and continue doing what he's doing. So instead of playing more defensive, how he would set up against a bigger side, so to speak, he's going to try and play more expansive, try and play more attacking, and that could be to the disadvantage of an Arsenal. If I'm a Bielsa, I say, well, damn it, let me press him up front. Let me press him in the final third. And I can see what we did to Liverpool. We can probably do the same thing to an Arsenal. And I suppose that's the biggest worry for a club or for a side like Arsenal, especially when you're not conceding goals. And one thing Arsenal have not done this season is, apart from scoring goals, is draw a game. So interesting that you guys have thrown a draw out there. So I think it's going to go one way or the other. They're not going to settle for a draw because that's just not in any of their natures. And I don't think Arsenal's good enough to settle for a draw at this moment in time. No. Wonga, overall, what's your feeling when we're going into this?
Look, I think for me, when I look at it, like I said, I see Leeds also on a bad run as well. But and as well, Arsenal, I think the biggest concern really is just scoring the goals. Leeds also have conceded the most goals in the Premier League. I think they've conceded 17 now as well. Scored more than Arsenal, yes, but conceded 17. And if you're conceding that many goals, that's you like Nick said, it's a bit. The war's not there for sure, 100%. And that's why I think Arsenal, will, given they put they stop. It's not working. They must put Aubameyang down the middle. That's where he needs to be. Put him down the middle, and we will win our games. I promise. We'll probably get the goals at least. The goals won't be dry. And I think I would like to also see Willian play more behind the strikers or behind those forwards.
But your formation doesn't allow currently. That's the problem. Is that your formation is a 3-4-3. So sometimes it's a 4-3-3. And he plays with Shaka. Okay, but how many times does he play 4-3-3? Probably like once, twice. I'm saying like he plays Shaka and either Shaka and Elneny or Elneny and Partey or Ceballos sometimes if he remembers that Ceballos is actually playing for Arsenal. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like
I know what you're saying.
Also, Willian hasn't done much since having assists against Fulham.
Against?
Yeah. That's a lot of things there.
And Fulham was that's the thing, and we said it before. The Fulham was a weak. They played bad, so it wasn't, and it was probably a good assessment. That game that we just played a bad team. Everyone was looking hot, but the team was just horrible. Yeah.
Guys, next one is the one I've got to introduce myself here. Is the Liverpool versus Leicester. We know this whole international. I've been on this whole international rant, and I think it's the first time ever that a side has had so many injuries at the stage of the career, at the stage of the league. Wow. I think it's 17 injuries in total, just alone from this weekend of this international break. They've had 4 first-team players come back that aren't available. In total, jeepers, you've got a long list. Even one of the academy boys, the guys that made his debut in the Champions League. Sorry, I'm adjusting my screen there. Rice Williams is injured as well, with a lot of them not even knowing when they're going to return. I think there's only 3 players where they're kind of hoping they're going to make an appearance for the Sunday. The rest, there's no certainty. Long-term injuries. It's a bit of a crazy situation. Nick, when we're looking at a Leicester right now being on the top of the log, facing a Liverpool in this seemingly, you could argue, weakened position, are you not licking your lips if you're Brendan Rodgers?
I think personally, I mean, there's probably not a better time to be playing at Liverpool. I think in terms of what he can put together, I think the squad or the starting 11 sort of makes up itself. I think he was speaking, or they were speaking today about the fact that Robertson came through his last game with Scotland injury free, which is a positive, especially in the defensive line for you. But I think if I'm Brendan Rodgers and you play in a hard working team that Klopp sort of sets up, and his team works hard, they press you. I think this might suit them. I think Marcus is speaking about Vardy. If you've got Barnes, you've got their pace and power of being able to absorb teams and hit you on the counter against the sort of back four that he might play that might not really know how to play together, which shouldn't really be an excuse. But, Liverpool are based on their success has been based on consistency and everyone sort of working for their manager. And unfortunately, you have a lot of injuries to deal with, illnesses. And I think this might work to Brendan Rodgers. Not many teams want to play Liverpool, but, if he's going to play one of the title challengers, if you want to call Leicester a title challenger, if Brendan Rodgers wants to play one of them, this is probably the best time to do it, because I wouldn't like to play a Liverpool at any point in the season if they're full strength. But the lineup, the likes of your Jotas, who's still available. There's players in that starting 11 that you will field that will cause trouble for Leicester. So I wouldn't write Liverpool off. It's going to be a great game, and one that I'm looking forward to. But I think Brendan Rodgers, as we know, tactically very astute, and I think he might just, how he's done against a Leicester, which I watched very eagerly, and also against Arsenal, he likes to sit in, but when they break, they are so devastating. And if they've got the likes of
funny you say that. Yeah, funny you say that. Just so you guys know, right now, I mean, we all know it shouldn't come as a surprise to you that Leicester have now broken the record with the most penalties given at this stage in the Premier League. They're currently sitting on 8 for 8. And the irony is that. The irony through all of this is that Brendan Rodgers come out saying, no, we play attacking football. So, we take advantage of getting penalties in the box because we know how to get a lot of touches. When you're going deeper and diving into the stats, they've had, in terms of touches in the box and chances created within the box, they've got one of the lower statistics surrounding that sort of fact, which is very interesting. So it just shows you how crucial the break is for them. And that's where they're getting all these things, apart from dodgy handballs, etc., etc. So that's very interesting. Yep.
I think in terms of, and I'm speaking about him again, I spoke about him already, but that 19-year-old centre-back that they've got for Fofana is, and I was going to suggest, Claudio,
well,
you guys
Arsenal landed up with Saliba. Sorry.
Yeah, but listen, Saliba is good. It's just Arteta's not using him.
Yeah, but I mean, if I talk about it for Fofana, and I was listening today to the Kelly and Wrighty show on the Premier League channel. They've got a French journalist, Rich, you might know him, that they bring onto the Premier League programs now and again. But he was speaking about Fofana, and he's obviously got his connections within the French Federation. And don't write him off for making the Euros, the Euro squad. So he's looking really good, a great prospect for French football. And he's starting at the team that's top of the log, and he's 19 years old. Yeah, I'm interested to see how he does against the Diego Jota.
Nick, the other thing is with France right now is they are blessed with centre backs. They've got centre backs for days. Literally left footers, right footers. They've got Fofana. They've got they got the guy who plays for Sevilla, Koundé. He's quite short, but he's quite a great centre back. Man City tried to sign him. They've got a Monaco left-sided centre back. They got so many centre backs. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think Fofana is the same. It's just unfortunate Arsenal is not using their young prodigy because Saliba broke into the.
Hold on, Silo. I'm going to cut you off right there. I don't care right now, but also I want to talk about the team that doesn't have any centre backs, and that's Liverpool. Liverpool do not have any centre backs right now.
Yeah. I'm going to come to that point now and say actually. If everyone's wondering why that Claudio's background looks quite interesting and so forth, Claudio right now is actually in the UK. He's just taken a break from training with Klopp. He's going to be playing centre back this weekend.
He signed
they
the
took-
contract. It's done.
They signed a
Done, yeah.
contract. They took him
Emergency
on a short trial.
contract.
He sent his videos from his tax days, and he's ready. The only problem that is he's got a niggling hamstring injury. So I'm not sure if he'll make it for the game.
Yeah, and the way in which I got that niggling hamstring injury was because I was struggling to say that. Was because I was late for my flight, and I actually pulled a hammy trying to get onto the plane. But interesting, when we're looking at the setup, I think this whole, obviously on paper, this is an absolute curse. Everyone's going, Liverpool and big shit. The irony through all of this, and you know me, I love seeing the glass half full, is this actually plays into a Jurgen Klopp 100%. There's this huge unpredictability aspect now lying within the team and how he's going to set them up and how he's going to play. And if I had to think really strategically, I think it puts someone like Brendan Rodgers, who already overthinks certain things from time to time, under a little bit more pressure, because the expectation is they're on top of the log and they should be coming away with the victory now because seemingly Liverpool are weakened. And that for me is where I get excited. I can probably say that I'm leaning towards a Liverpool win because of that. Just that fact alone. But if we're looking through the
if you can win under these circumstances, you're going to say to yourself, you're honestly going to say to yourself as a Liverpool fan, we're going to go do it again. Because if we can do it with a depleted squad like that against the team that's on top of the log, who can really stop us? So I agree with you, Claudio. You should, and Klopp will embrace the challenge, and that's what he's going to tell his players. He's going to tell the young boys that are going to start. I mean, I reckon Curtis Jones has a great chance to start in the midfield. They've got nothing to lose. They're young. I mean, the squad's depleted. It's not their starting 11. They're saying, you're playing for the best team in England. Go out there and show them why you're in the squad of the best team in England. So I agree with you. Claudio.
And I've been watching the training because I'm a Liverpool member, guys. Just in case you don't know, so I get extra footage, and I've been watching the footage of them training. And one of the things Klopp has come up.
You see yourself?
I was in the physio room. Under, like Scott said, under quarantine, unfortunately. So no, I didn't get to meet any of the academy players. But one of the things that Jurgen Klopp has come out saying is he's so excited to have all these youngsters in training, and it's amazing watching them coming through. And that's one of the incentives from them moving from Marwood to the AXA Training Centre in Kirkby, was so that they could have a sort of a joint setup where you've got your academy players that are super close to the first team players, and it almost feels attainable to them. And I feel like in any club that should be an important step or something that they should take on, because when these things are distant, it feels like that dream is too far and it feels unrealistic. So I'm very happy with that. But apart from that fact, exactly, Jones might be playing. We've got the boy who's just done well, scored again for the Netherlands, my boy Genie, who's come in and he's been bossing. He always bosses for the Netherlands. So what's quite interesting is without a Hendo and without a Van Dijk, you're going to see his leadership qualities come through on the weekend. No doubt. He's going to have to play and he's going to have to lead from the middle. You've also got, whether or not Fabinho or Thiago are fit, that we're going to hear tomorrow in the news conference. That might change things up a little bit. Yeah, Kate is definitely, he has to have a go. But what I like about it is, depending on Muti, he
doesn't play for Cameroon anymore, so he stayed behind.
Yeah, exactly. He gave that up a long time ago because he realized how shit it was. There's more chance of him playing on an African field, getting injury, twisting an ankle, than it is actually just staying at home, getting paid, and actually playing. And he's already injury prone.
It's good that he stayed behind, man. They won African Cup of Nations without him. They didn't need him. So yeah, but carry on.
No. Matip's a good boy. Leave him alone. But anyways, so Matip. So I wanted to talk about that. So whether or not Fabinho plays with him, or it's Phillips that plays with Matip, I like the challenge for Matip because now he's got to take charge. He's got to be the leader. He does have it in him deep down. I think he can do it. But what's one thing when we're taking out a Van Dijk and we're taking out a Gomez, what we don't have is pace now. We do not have. So when we're looking at the setup, we might sit deeper. And again, that's a different challenge for Brendan Rodgers, who likes sitting deeper and catching teams on the counter when he plays a bigger side. So there's a lot of unpredictability for Brendan Rodgers. And that, for me, is what's playing down the alley. And that's where I'm getting excited. And if Thiago shows up, at least we've got someone playing the balls. But that is one thing we're going to be missing now, is if he doesn't play, Trent's not playing. So the switching of play is going to be absent. We know Van Dijk's not playing, so being able to pick a long pass isn't there as well. So if Phillips does play, we know his long passes are shocking, but he's good at winning the ball in the box. That's pretty. Yeah, sorry, Wonga.
Yeah, Yeah, no, I was gonna say, like, again, I agree with you on that. I don't want to repeat anything you said, but I think for me, I think that the challenge there for Liverpool, I don't think it'll be upfront. Yeah, they're missing one or two players. I think the challenge for them, just just like the seasons before they won the league, would be in that defense. That's where they got it right, and that's how they won the league before. I mean, last season they played with pretty much of the same back four every single game. No one got injured. And now all of them are gone. It's completely different person. I mean, completely different people in each position. Hopefully they still get Allison in goals. Otherwise,
Yeah, no.
yeah,
Allison's there. Allison's there.
otherwise it's gonna be open
Stop
cage.
disrespecting Adrian, man. He's the GOAT.
But you
Bro,
also,
you guys
you're
joking
gonna have-
about Adrian. Sorry, Nick. Yeah.
Huh?
No,
well,
saying,
I was gonna say, yeah, go for it.
no, I was saying Adrian. He's absolutely shocking when he's on the field, but he's a hell of a trainer. I'm not gonna lie, he's a really good trainer. When you're watching him in training, I'm like, holy shit, is this even the same player? He just doesn't have BMT. So he's a great squad player, and you need those.
Yeah.
You need those.
Yeah.
I think speaking about squad players, I think James Milner's going to have to step up, and I think that kept the leadership qualities that you get from Van Dijk and Henderson. You'll get from James Milner. You know, he is a bit part player now because of his age, but I mean, he's probably arguably one of the fittest players that you guys have. At the age of the ripe old age of 34, 35. So I think, he might slot in. I don't know, where would you play him? Maybe at right back or in the midfield?
Yeah, I think
maybe
against
just sit
Leicester,
in, yeah.
you're definitely gonna have to play him at right back. Nico Williams,
Yeah.
fantastic player, but I think if he's
Yeah.
starting the game, I think someone like Vardy is gonna rip a new
Yeah,
one there.
that's
I
the
think,
problem.
The one thing I do like is that in Liverpool, even though despite all these absences, you've mentioned Milner and I've mentioned Gini, is that in a different shape or form, we've got different leaders, something that United are lacking and other clubs are lacking. And that's what Klopp has been able to do. He's been able to empower all these players that they all feel like their leader, especially when one isn't there, another one can step up. And that moves me over to the next one. Guys, our last topic for the day, and one that I want to see people's predictions. We are into the predictions. So, with that being said, let's hear them. We're going to move from Silo. We're then going to go to Nick, Rich, and then Wonga, and then we'll end off with me. So, first game, Chelsea, Newcastle. What are the predictions there, lads?
The predictions, man. I think because Chelsea are bad travelers to the northeast, I'm going to give it a 1-1. I'm going to give my boy Nick a chance for this weekend. His team has basically stayed at home. Wilson is there. Darlow is at home. None of them traveled. So I think a 1-1 draw. Maybe an Andy Carroll 82nd minute header coming in. So yeah, 1-1 draw in the northeast.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with a 2-1 win for Newcastle United. Going to be optimistic. I say quietly optimistic. I just think whenever Chelsea come, there's an awkwardness when they arrive. There's an awkward. They just don't show up. I'm not necessarily saying Newcastle are better or we outplay them, but I just there's an awkwardness. It's either going to go that way or it's going to be completely what Scott's saying right now. Scotty, I'll get you as my assistant, lad. But yeah, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. I think we due a performance where we actually show up because the last two we just haven't showed up. So I think if Shelby's fit, because Shelby has been training through the international break, I think he could give us another dimension in the midfield. And then Wilson, there's always a chance. There's always a chance for something. So let's see. I'm going to go 2-1 win for the Magpies.
I think it's going to be 2-1 win to Chelsea. They're just playing such good football at the moment. Everyone's ticking over really well. They're hitting great form. As Nick said, they do struggle when they have to travel up to Newcastle, but I just feel like there's just a bit too much in their tank at the moment. I think it'll be a tight game and Newcastle will probably score, but I think Chelsea will just have too much. So I'm going to say 2-1.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3-1 to Chelsea.
Come on, Monga, man.
You're letting Nick down, Ons. You're letting him down.
No, I thought about it. I mean, no ways. I can't see it happening. I can see Newcastle scoring a goal because Chelsea aren't also the greatest at the back. They have got a good keeper as well. That's why I don't think they'll score more than 2. But yeah, I think Chelsea, at the end of the day, maybe first half guys will be struggling a bit, but come second half, bang, bang, bang. Thanks for coming. 3 points in the bag.
You know what I would say, like Newcastle know how to frustrate the bigger sides. We've seen them do it against the Spurs. The only concern I have for me is right now, Chelsea seem to be hitting the sort of stride. And with Ziyech there and Verdner scoring, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold out. Maybe first half it'll be 0-0. But I think maybe, I want to go with Newcastle, Nick. I want to give it to your side.
Do you want me to take you out for a beer?
Yeah.
I'm taking Silo out already, so you might be careful here.
They can't see this, man. They can't see it. They can't see it, man. I don't know why.
Hey, yeah. So, let's you know what? Let's go with the 2-1 win to Newcastle. Let's do that.
Yes, there we go.
All right.
he wants his beer.
I want that beer, but he's proud of me. In South Africa, we love our corruption. Next game, Spurs versus Man City. Spurs versus Man City. Hello.
Spurs, Man City. Oh, what a tough one, man. I think I'll give it to Man City. Just because they seem to have gotten their defense in order. They just the missing pieces is Walker on the right hand side. But otherwise, the rest of the defense is looking good. And their players played well actually in the international break. Ruben Diaz got 2 goals for Portugal. Rodri scored for Spain. I think let me give it to Man City 2-1.
I'm gonna go with Spurs. I think they just have too much at the moment. I think their form is obviously speaking volumes. I think a win for Mourinho is going to do his team wonders, and I think the loss for City is just going to show what a job that Pep has to actually realize that he has to rebuild now. And I don't write them out of the title challenge, but I think he needs to start thinking of plan Bs, Cs, and Ds. Because right now, as we can see, sitting 10th on the log is not where they should be. But I think Spurs, I'll go with a 2-1 win for Spurs.
I'm going to go with Selo on this one. I'm going to back City. I think it's going to be a really tight game, and there's going to be 2 tactical masterminds going head-to-head. But I just feel like Pep has really pinpointed this game as a must-win for City's season. And as he mentioned earlier, they've got players that have done really well in the international break. So I'm going to go 2-1 City. It's going to be a tight one, but I back City. Foden's looking good as well. So, yeah, 2-1.
Yeah, I think, I agree with what Richard said as well, but I also think Mourinho is thinking the same thing as well, for him as well, to if he's wanting to make this win the league for Tottenham, he has to win it. It's not nice saying it as an Arsenal fan, but they do look hard at the moment, and I mean, they've got. I mean, if they get Bale clicking, if this is the game that he's steps up in, then yes, they've got a problem Man City on their hands. I'll give it the win to Man City, and I would say it's 3-1 to them.
Can I just jump in there about Bale quickly?
I mean to Tottenham. Sorry, 3-1 to Tottenham.
Did you see him watching the Masters? Hey?
Yeah.
Wonga's gone to
when he was in the stands, Nick.
Yeah, we was doing on his iPad.
Did you see Bale, Claudio? Yeah, the man was watching the Masters
last week
while Wales were playing, and he was in the stands. And then Harry Kane gave him shit about it.
Wales were playing USA.
Yeah, and
the guy's not serious. He's not serious. And also, he's come out now saying today, because Doherty he's not playing because he's got COVID. And he's come out saying now all of a sudden he's worried because he had a close interaction with him. So I wouldn't even be surprised that he doesn't even go for a test, but he rules himself out of Sunday's game saying he's got COVID so he can watch the Masters, to be honest. But yeah, so he's
going to watch a Joburg Open.
You guys are laughing. You'll be here next time.
Yeah, but,
you'll be here.
One thing I want to point out before I give my prediction is that City right now actually have one of their worst stats in terms of touches in the box and chances taken. So for me, that sits perfectly for Mourinho. He knows how to frustrate sides as well. He's going to sit deep. And technically speaking, if we got to look at a result, Mourinho's not afraid to walk away with a point and tell everyone to piss off because he's happy that he stopped the City, regardless of where they are on the table. He's going to say, hey, you know, that taking a point away from City, that's enough for us to push forward. So for me, it's either going to be a draw, it's going to go a Spurs victory, but I think I'm going to lean towards the Nick Son down the takeaway or breakaway takeaway. Jesus, Son takeaway. I feel like that's a franchise there in the UK you can open, or at least in Asia somewhere. Son takeaway right now, coming down the wing, giving you a nice burger. Sorry, yeah. Anyway, my point is, I think Son's going to nick it, and it's going to be a 2-1 win to a Spurs.
Hey Claudio,
next game.
Wait,
Before
you move on, does anyone know Aguero's situation? Because for me, Aguero is also, if he's starting, that's also a big game changer for them on that side.
He can't start,
He's
guys.
not-
He's overweight. He's overweight, firstly, and he was injured. So,
But the guy's on Twitch. He's a gaming sensation now. I think he's doing better as a gamer than he is as a footballer, to be honest. Playing FIFA.
he should go back.
I think he's just transitioning now
Yeah, I
go
think
back
he
home.
is.
for retirement.
That's the new post football career, is become a gamer because you've already got the following. It makes sense. Next game,
Yeah.
Sheffield West Ham. Selo? Don't upset Richard.
He's even thinking about it.
I actually feel it's going to be a draw, a 1-1 draw. Actually, you know why? Because Sheffield need something. Like they need something. You know, they need something. They're crying out for something, and there's no Antonio. You know, if Antonio was playing, you know, I'd be crying like how Claudio cries, you know, about him and how great of a player he is and one of the best players in the Premier League. But he's not there. So I say 1-1, Sheffield and West Ham. Yeah.
I think it's going to be a dogged fight. I think it's going to be 0-0 to 80 minutes. I think Rich will get the goal in the end, maybe a penalty, maybe a classy free kick. I don't think it's going to be the nicest game to watch because I think a point for Sheffield United will be good for them. You know, seeing sort of West Ham's form. So, you know, they might even just sit in and try take the point and try just sort of accumulate what they can. But I think West Ham should have enough, but I don't think it'll be a great game to watch. But we're used to that, eh, Rich?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. It's going to be scrappy. Chris Wilder's going to have them set up to try and nick like a 1-0 win or something. But I have to back my boys. We've had a really tough run of games from the start of the season up until now, and this is where we can start cashing in. So for me, it's a must win. I think we'll take it 2-1. We'll probably concede a goal, but I think we've got enough in the tank. Our lads have come back from international break, scored a couple of goals. Dekker's scored, Suchek scored, Kufal assist. Everyone's been jamming. Haller scored. So yeah, we're feeling good. Hammer's going to take it.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys on that one. I think I also see West Ham taking the win there as well, 2-1, and I think it's also a must.
Thanks,
for them.
Scott.
I don't
Call Marcus out for going quiet. He's put us on mute, guys. I'm telling you, Marcus has just like left the thing playing and he's taking a dump somewhere. I don't know. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, no, I think Sheffield as well. They've been very. I mean, at least West Ham have picked up points. I mean, they've won games, but I mean, they've been Sheffield. It's just that I don't think they can win the game against West Ham. This is probably the time to prove it. But again, they're down in the bottom. I expect West Ham to win it. Not a clean game, not a nice game to watch. But yeah, I think West Ham will get out of it with the 3 points. I think 2-0. I would say the score.
I knew it. This man's a developer. He's busy coding and he's got us in the background. But I'm glad we can be that white noise for you, Marcus. Anyway, I'm actually leaning towards Sheffield. I'm saying Sheffield's going to win 1-0 and Brewster's going to make his score and he's going to score, break his duck. Why not? He's a Liverpool boy after all. I've got to back my boy. Next game, settle. Leeds, Arsenal.
Oh, wait, where's Man United, man?
Oh, did you know they're not on my radar ever? So I got to skip that one. Sorry. Go with that one.
Yeah, man. Like, where's Man United? We play on Saturday. Man United, yeah, 4-0 to Man United.
Yeah.
The boys need to prove that they actually are serious about actually doing something this season. But yeah, if they don't score more than one goal, and I'll be like bitterly disappointed. If it's just a 1-0 win, I'll be very sad. But yeah, 4-0. I've reorganized my Saturday so that I can make sure that I can watch the game. Want to see some goals. I liked what I saw from some certain players in the break. So yeah, 4-0, Man United.
Yeah, I think I see it. I'm loving the banter with Scotty and Mark.
I'm loving the bromance, eh?
Yeah, but I think Man United should have enough. I think a conventional 2-0 win put more misery in and probably another nail in Bilic's coffin after this weekend. So yeah, I think it should be a conventional win. As I say, it should be, but anything is possible with Ole at the wheel.
Yeah,
but 2-0 for Man United win.
I think
Scott's
that this is going to be a goal fest for United. Honestly, I can see this being 4 or 5. West Brom have got an aging defense. They have Ivanovic there. He's so far past it. I think this is going to be a runaway game for United. I reckon they can cash in. I'm going to say 4-0. West Brom won't score.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'd also say exactly 4-0, 5, possibly even. I don't see.
Choose one, Wanga.
Okay, I'll choose 5. But
This is the problem with Arsenal as well. They're just not sure where to commit, and that's why they're not hitting the target. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't see West Brom even scoring a goal or even causing a problem. Maybe VAR can save them and get them 1 in, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I've got to really just back West Brom. I'm gonna say to look at Zelo's face. I'm gonna go with a West Brom. I can't even get the damn name right. It's been a long day for me. I'm gonna go with a West Brom victory. See, even my brain's saying, "Dude, are you honestly believing the shit you're talking right now?" No. Okay, I'm gonna go with a United 2-0 win. Next game, Leeds versus Arsenal. This is a good one. This is a tricky one.
Yeah.
It's not tricky. Straightforward, guys.
I think this one, Bielsa would have had the international break to sort out some of the rubbish that we're doing in the last 2 games. So I see a 2-1 victory against Arsenal.
So did Arteta. Arteta also had time to fix up his nonsense. What are you guys saying? Come.
Leeds are at home, right? I think Leeds are
at home.
I think I see a draw. I see a 1-1 draw. I think they're going to cancel each other out. I know you say, Claudia, they're going to sort of go for it, hell and leather, but I see a cancellation of 2 styles, or probably the same sort of style, but with poor defense, but also playing off a poor attacking sort of strategy from Arsenal. So I see a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I completely agree with Nick. I think they're going to cancel each other out. 1-1 draw.
Hectic.
Both clubs kind of struggling a little bit at the moment, a bit up and down. So yeah, I think they're going to cancel each other out. 1-1.
No ways. Arsenal, though. Arsenal 2-0 to Arsenal. That's what's going to happen. I don't know.
Goal. That's the thing.
Huh?
So Arsenal wins a 1-0.
Arsenal
can't score more than 1 goal. Right now.
Right now, yes. There's always time to change, guys. There's always time. I believe in my team. I believe in Arteta. I think Leeds are on a bad run themselves. I think they've also got a lot to prove. Yes, Bielsa's got that. I don't think he's worried much about it, but now he knows that he hasn't lost 3 in a row, and depends how they respond to that. So I think, and also Arsenal, I don't think there's much pressure on them as well to win the game. But geez, I truly believe that this is probably a turning point for them. Pretty much, I'm gonna. But yeah, I think I'll go for Arsenal 100%. You know, I want it, and I think we can get it. Yeah,
You want it, but do the boys in the change room want it as badly as you do, Wonga? That's the question. I'm gonna go with the Leeds 3-1 win.
I know he does. I think Mesut Ozil wants it.
Shame, poor guy's still doing pull-ups from 3 weeks ago.
Guys, Ozil's got to watch the managers that he doesn't like. Germany loses. He's like, bring back Jerome Boateng. You know what I mean? He's just literally watching all these managers. He's just laughing. He's like, ah, ha, 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 ha.
Yeah. Okay, now on to the last one, the Liverpool-Leicester game. And just before we give our predictions, I just want to say, Marcus, the only English lessons I need are watching the league champions win on the weekend. So that's where I'll be learning my English. Selo, what do you think the prediction is going to be for the weekend?
Yeah, I think you know, we shouldn't underestimate, like, Liverpool still got their attacking force for this game. You know, Firmino has scored 3 goals in 3 games for Brazil, except for this last game. So 3 and 4 for Brazil, which has been good for him. And obviously Jota's been on form. So I think, even saying all of that, it'll be a 1-1 draw. Just because I'm not 100% sure about a Muti and what's his centre back's name? Phillips.
But Fabinho will probably be fit. I'm gonna wait tomorrow to hear.
Okay, so a Phillips and a Muti centre back partnership is quite slow, and a Harvey Barnes and a Vardy will just run past them. You know what I mean? Play on the last man, and the balls will be over the top. Tielemans has been on fire for Belgium. He scored 2 goals in 2 games. Passing the midfield for Belgium. So yeah, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
I agree with the draw part, but I see a lot of goals. I think at back 4, I'm a bit worried about Claudia. I think you will concede, but I do see you scoring yourself. So I'm going to go with a 2-2. Quite a goal fest. I think an exciting game, and I think you guys will cancel each other out. Yeah, that's mine.
I'm going to go with Leicester on this one. I think there's also going to be goals. I say 3-2 Leicester. I just feel like they know how to play away from home. They did it against City. They played the perfect game. And Rodgers is going to do the exact same thing this time round. And he wants to get one over on Liverpool. They did him dirty.
Claudia's face, man.
I'm just listening to this, and I'm like, I can't.
It's worse with the moustache, man. It's so bad with the moustache. It looks like Hitler doing like, you know, like a
Bro, Hitler. I don't know if that's okay. I don't know. Like we are uncut generally, but no, we can't throw that name out there.
Sorry for that.
I missed that completely. What did he say?
Sorry, Wonga, yeah.
Sorry for the viewer. Sorry for all the viewers. Sorry, it was a bad taste.
Sorry,
Can
Wonga.
we delete that?
No, it's live. It's up there. Continue, Wonga.
I'm going 100%. I'm going for Leicester. 100% going for Leicester. I think with what's his name? I think with the defense of Liverpool not being up to standard, I think they might just have the same problems they had before. And I mean, these guys obviously they've been trained together for a while, but it's the large part of these wins of theirs from last year and the domination they had was the back 4 of Trent, Van Dijk, Gomez, and whoever, or Matip coming in, and Robertson on the other side. So I don't think they hold it up, and I think again putting also what Richard said, hopefully Brendan Rodgers' desire has got a bit more reason to win this one than Klopp does. But yeah,
Claudia's.
The score. Sorry, 2-2. Yo, there'll be a lot of score. I say 3-2 to Leicester. 3-2 to Leicester.
Check this out. Wonga, look carefully. Read the fine print. Marcus has said, Wonga, this must be the first time you've made your own prediction.
Guys, next time we do predictions, we must start with Wonga.
We start with Wonga.
I think regardless of what happens on the weekend, it's a win-win for Liverpool. I think if they come out with a victory, it just makes it's a better position for the club to be in. If they come out with a loss, everyone will be like, they've got a lot of injuries, it's fine. They can always bounce back from this. So either way, it doesn't matter. But for me, Guys, it's going to be absolutely mental. I think it's going to be a 4-2 victory to Liverpool. Jota is going to get a hat-trick, and icing on the cake is going to be Bobby Firmino. No look goal. Bang! That's what I'm going with. Boing.
He can't score.
And watch, he's going to score at the Cop end. He's going to score at the
He
Cop
can't
end.
score at Anfield.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or did he score the other day, or is he still not broken his duck?
He
scored the other day. He scored.
Okay, fair enough.
But don't forget, hey, he's still trying to chase Jota. Jota's played a quarter of the games, but with more goals, eh?
Look, I actually think, before we go, something I forgot to mention is this is a bit of a blessing in disguise, because the conversation's been drop Bobby, bring in Jota. And I, for one, think that Jota and Bobby are going to do something on the weekend. I think they're going to hit some sort of chemistry that we've never seen before. I think Salah is going to actually be getting nervous on the bench there because of the shit partying at a wedding. He's going to be like, damn it, why did I party with all my cousins? He's going to start regretting that, because I think there's something in those two. They're both really smart players. I think you see the best of Jota when he is playing on the right-hand side, because he scored that hat-trick in Champions League, and that's the position he was playing. So just watch out for that space.
So
Bobby
if
has
that
a 10
happens,
down.
if that happens, you're going to have the last laugh, because I think no one went with the Liverpool win except for you. Even the comments I see. So you'll have the last laugh if that works out.
I enjoy laughing by myself. It's all good. It's all good. I'll send you guys all a voice note. That's what I'll do. On that note, guys, thank you for joining me today. Thank you. This is a wrap of the pre-match Muti. Any final words before we head out, lads? Actually,
I just want to say thanks to Marcus and Scott and Jason and who else did I miss? James, and Nicholas Killas,
Jason
and Musa for tuning in. You know what I mean? And who else? And Sarah Jones. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. It's great. Scott, you must come to South Africa. And yeah, so we can have some fun in the sun.
There's Alex as well.
Oh, Alex. Yeah. You know what I mean?
In Steve Bruce, we trust. You'll see a masterclass on the weekend. He's gonna outsmart Frank Lampard. He's gonna sit in, and we're gonna get something. Trust me, lads.
Away the lads.
Arsenal top 4. Arsenal top 4 and Shaka to Inter, guys. It's gonna happen. Eriksen coming in.
You know what you need to do, Wonga, is you need to print his name on the back and have it delivered to his house and say, please, just go. Just go. Blood from Wonga.
I will support him. I'll be an Inter supporter if he goes.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks, Scott, for tuning in. Enjoy the training. Cheers, everybody else. Alex, Scott, Marcus, Jason, Nick, and everyone else who joined in. Thank you very much. We appreciate you. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. All right, bye.